2023 marks the debut of a new generation of the Honda Pilot. The previous generation had multiple safety issues. Was Honda able to solve them in this new version? Let's find out as we watch the new Pilot undergo the world's most demanding crash tests. Let's start with the updated moderate overlap test, which has a crash test dummy in the rear seat. The old Pilot really struggled in this test, scoring the lowest rating of poor. The new one, unfortunately, doesn't do much better. The rear seat restraint system does a terrible job of keeping passengers safe. The lap portion of the seatbelt dangerously shifted from the pelvis, where it should remain throughout the crash, to the abdomen. The rear passenger's head also approached the front seat back. Rebound movement was uncontrolled as the dummy shifted out of its seat. The rear seat dummy also recorded a moderate risk of injuries to the head or neck. In all, the Pilot scored the second lowest rating of marginal in this evaluation. It's quite disappointing that Honda wasn't able to do better after a full redesign. Next up is the updated side impact test. This evaluation recreates what would happen if the Pilot was struck on its side by a 4,200-pound SUV at 37 miles per hour. The old Pilot did poorly in this test, experiencing significant intrusion. Fortunately, the new one performed extremely well. The Pilot's structure had among the lowest amount of intrusion we have ever seen in this evaluation. The space between the B-pillar and seat center line is a phenomenal 32 centimeters. All injury measures are low and dummy movement is well controlled. This stellar performance earns the Pilot the highest rating of good in this test. Let's move on to the small overlap crash test. With only 25% of the Pilot's front end striking the barrier, this test concentrates the crash forces and really challenges the vehicle's crumple zones and structure. The Pilot performed very well in this evaluation on both the driver and passenger sides. The structure held up well and had low intrusion numbers. All injury measures were low. The seatbelts and airbags also do a good job of ensuring dummy movement is well controlled on both the driver and passenger sides. Honda did a great job in this evaluation and earns the highest score of good on both the driver and passenger sides. Of course, the best crash protection system is one that can help avoid a collision altogether. An automatic emergency braking system uses cameras or sensors to detect an imminent collision and autonomously applies the brakes. The Pilot was tested in its abilities to avoid collisions with pedestrians in both day and night conditions at speeds up to 37 miles per hour. We can assume that if the vehicle stops for pedestrians, it will also stop for vehicles which are larger and easier for the system to detect. During the daytime test, the vehicle performed well and autonomously stopped in most conditions. The Pilot also did well in the nighttime pedestrian avoidance test, autonomously stopping or significantly slowing in all scenarios. It's worth noting that the best nighttime performance occurred when the high beams were activated, which reinforces the importance of using high beams whenever they don't interfere with other drivers. Speaking of nighttime safety, let's now evaluate the performance of the headlights. The Pilot only has one type of headlights and it does well. The low and high beams do well in most of the straightaway and curve scenarios. The low beams fall a little short on one of the left curves, but this is mitigated by automatic high beams that fill the gap. Overall, the Pilot is a mixed bag of safety performance. It did very well in the small overlap and updated side impact crash tests. It has an excellent automatic emergency braking system and good headlights. Unfortunately, the Pilot struggled in the updated moderate overlap test. The rear seat dummy's movement was poorly controlled. If it wasn't for this one underperforming test, the Pilot would be one of the safest options in the midsize SUV segment. Hopefully, Honda makes the necessary improvements. In the meantime, the Subaru Ascent makes a very safe option in this class. This card will take you to a full safety review video of the Ascent. Thanks for watching. If you found this video valuable, please drop a like and subscribe to see more resourceful videos about auto safety.